there was a genuine sense of panic. I don't remember exactly what was said over the radio, something along the lines of, "I'm sorry, but, you know, we're out." Look, man, you can skin that cat 1,000 ways, but at the end of the day, we're the reason we didn't make the show. We had grown men crying in our garage. Like, this is Indy. This is the Indy 500. This is everything for us. It's almost like we were attending a funeral. She's Indy, man. I mean, Indianapolis doesn't owe anybody anything. You have to earn every lap you do here, every corner. There's no freebies, there's no gimmies.
Hinchcliffe's already out there getting busy.
He's well down to the speed charts. He needs to get himself going out there.
We do have 35 entries this year, and so there will be bumping.
It became apparent to us pretty early that on the 5-car side, we were struggling for speed, and we couldn't quite figure out why. Every day in our kind of post-practice debrief, we would come up with a new theory and a new plan for the following day, and there was always, you know, hope that we were going to kind of sort it out. But every day went by and pace didn't really pick up, the speed didn't really come. We weren't worried. We were annoyed, but I've seen poorly qualifying cars win this race a bunch of times. We were really focused on our race car because we knew we weren't a top 5 threat, top 9 threat for qualifying. So we didn't really focus too much on setting up for qualifying. We just accepted our fate speed-wise and kept trying things every day, but like I said, they never quite came together.
I don't think we were genuinely like overly concerned about making the field, and maybe that was, you know, part of the problem. You know, we never did, you know, that qualifying sim until Friday.
We certainly expected to qualify. The way that obviously the qualifying day, the Saturday turned out was a challenge for everybody really, but in particular SPM. You know, with the 2 stoppages due to weather, etc., that really knocked us back a little bit. And as the day went on, obviously the nerves and the tension and the expectation builds even more.
What's happened, obviously, since they were getting ready to run this morning is that it rained. And that little bit of rubber that had accumulated on the track has now been washed off.
The long wait is over. Here we go once again. James Hinchcliffe, Canadian, ready to qualify for another 500-mile race.
Checkered flag is out for James Hinchcliffe, lap number 4, pretty close to lap 3, 224.480. But again, the 4-lap average, the slowest thus far, 224.784 miles per hour.
After the first run, that's when the panic started. Whatever we had done to try and find the pace in the car had not worked. We were not running as fast as we thought we would. We weren't pulling the gears we thought we should for the trim level we were at. There was a genuine sense of panic, and I got out of the car very disappointed. I got out of the car knowing for sure we'd have to run again. I knew that time wasn't going to hold up. We were going to regroup and take another crack at it. You know, again, it was a little bit of panic just because I knew we were going to be forced to do it, but still had the confidence that once we got out there, we'd get the job done.
At that point, we knew it probably wasn't strong enough, you know, with time in hand, it's something that, you know, you get that experience of that first run. You look at data, you look at, you know, talk to the driver, look at the car, see what the tyres have done, then come back and make some changes. And we would at that point were quite confident that we'd go out and do a faster run and be in the show with no problem at all.
224.784. That is the number that Connor Daly is shooting for, and surprise, surprise, that's the speed of James Hinchcliffe.
James Hinchcliffe is on the bubble.
Lap number 4 in the books for Connor Daly, 224.695. He is 32nd quick, 224.874. For now, bumping James Hinchcliffe from the starting field.
And Hinch is now moving his car over, I think, Were they moving over to the express lane?
Yep.
I think that's where they were taking it.
Yeah, yep, moving him to the fast lane so he can get out quickly.
Honestly, at that point, it was kind of a relief because the waiting and the wondering was over, you know? I had confidence in the car. I had confidence that we could go out there and improve our speed. The track was getting quicker, you know, we were getting faster. Everybody out there was improving their time. So I knew we just had to get our chance and then we would be okay. So when it finally happened, it was kind of nice. We pulled out of the right lane, got into the left lane, and now I kind of thought, okay, let's just go get this over with and we can stop sweating this thing.
Well, at that point, the car had obviously been back to the garage. The engineers had, you know, trailed over the data, spoken to James, etc. You know, looked at the weather again, made some fairly significant setup changes to the car with what we thought was the right direction. You know, to fix the issues we'd had with the car on the first run and put the car back out in the line and go out and put a time in.
Just a wicked vibration in the car.
Very, 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 very bad vibration.
Like steering wheel nearly getting ripped out of my hands.
James Hinchcliffe is not in the 500 with less than 15 minutes to go.
The 2016 pole winner.
Amazing, amazing. And he's having to fight to get the last place on the grid.
Very, 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 very bad rotation. Vibration. Very bad vibration.
It's almost comical, you know? It's just, you can't believe that it's happening. You think it's going away, then it's coming back, and you can see the steering wheel just moving. Unbelievable amount. Like, there's no way the car would have survived a run with the vibration that it had. The tire would have failed, something would have happened, but, you know, like, you're sitting in line, you're all amped up, ready to go, and then as soon as you pull out in between 1 and 2, you don't even have a chance to get started for it to go bad. It just is bad off the bat. Then I was kind of like, all right, we're gonna be okay. Then there was a miscommunication. It's amazing how it was just, it's clearly not meant to happen that day. It was just, you know, too many things working against us.
Is he pulled off?
Yeah, he's coming in with a vibration in the car.
Okay.
Wow. The problems just keep popping up for James Hinchcliffe. Man, oh man.
Ultimately, we had a mechanical failure. A component in the wheel, the tire pressure sensor, came apart. Something, one of those things that we've never, ever had before and probably never, ever have again. We still don't know what happened.
We're sitting at about 2.5 minutes remaining in this session as Pippa Mann goes out in an attempt to make the Indianapolis 500.
There's 1 minute and 9 seconds left.
She's going to take the green flag, so this is pretty much going to shut things down for the number 5 car.
James sitting there in disbelief.
Her car does not have that speed in it. James Hinchcliffe is not going to qualify for this year's Indianapolis 500. And for a team like Sam's to not have one of his lead drivers in the 500 is devastating.
I knew Pippa was out right in front of me, but you just wanted our shot. Just the guy in the car, still thought it went till 6 o'clock. The team did not think that. The team was well aware of everything. And I have a clock in my car, and I thought we still had plenty of time, so I didn't care what times Pippa was doing because I knew we'd still get a shot. Except I was wrong, which is my fault. That's fine. It doesn't ultimately change anything, just changes how calm I was in the car at that point and why there was a brief moment of confusion when I was kind of looking up at the screen that, you know, Kyle and my mechanic Billy were hanging out around, and I saw the gun and I heard it. I'm like, what are they just practicing, making sure that it works for 10 minutes from now? When the gun went off, everybody started looking a little somber, and Kyle Novak turned to me and kind of gave me this sign. And kind of at that point, I sort of remembered that a few years ago we had changed it to 550. And I just got on the radio to double check. I was like, what exactly is happening here? And it was just kind of I don't remember exactly what was said over the radio, something along the lines of, I'm sorry, but, you know, we're out.
It's not 6 o'clock. Yeah, it's 5:50, James. Do I get out of the car now? Yeah, you can hop out.
What's going through my mind is how I want to be anywhere but where I was. Yeah, this is when I'm, you know, looking at Billy, kind of saying, what's going on? I saw the gun, but I'm pointing at my clock. You can see it. I mean, I didn't even know what was going on. You know, Marco came over. And this is, you know, the minute I kind of took to gather thoughts a little bit and just trying to think about, you know, what to do now. It's still kind of surreal. It's just nobody knows how to react, right? Like nobody knows. I just can't believe it. These guys work so hard. There's so much time that goes into building the IndyCar, and just the time you're at the track during the month of May, and all that work basically just was for nothing, in a sense. It's hard to see. And then, you know, I look kind of past that group of, you know, my people, and you just see them all, cameras and microphones and everything. I knew that we couldn't any longer control whether we got in the race or not. That was done. What was done was done. All that was left for us to control was how we reacted to it. And I very slowly took my helmet off, just giving myself as much time as I could to sort of compose and, you know, prepare to make what was the most difficult and uncomfortable interview I've ever had to give.
Indy's a cruel mistress sometimes, you know, highest to highs, lowest to lows, but, you know, everybody at SPM worked their tails off to get these cars ready. We have 3 cars in the show. Unfortunately, the 4th one didn't make it, but we win as a team, we lose as a team. It's crazy to be here after where we were 2 years ago, you know?
I ran into Pippa on the way into the press conference because she had just finished, you know, having to do the same thing, and I hadn't looked at my phone. I hadn't been online or anything at this point, and I gather some people were, you know, criticizing their move to stay out.
I've heard some stuff from other people. This is in no way Pippa Mann's fault, or anybody else in line's fault. This is our fault. So if there's anybody out there that's got anything bad to say about that, you don't know motorsports, and keep your mouth shut.
Look, man, you can skin that cat 1,000 ways, but at the end of the day, we're the reason we didn't make the show. Pippa wasn't the reason we didn't make the show.
It was fairly obvious from where I was sat, and I think pretty much everybody in pit lane, that car was not going to make the race. But it was that's kind of out of our hands. You know, that's maybe an IndyCar thing in a, you know, in a Dale Coyne situation as well that they could control. But all of a sudden, the reality hits that if this car doesn't pull in, you know, and give you a chance to run, that, you know, you might be in big trouble in terms of not making the cut. So it's quite a harrowing thing to sit through as well. If only you could control time. There was an emptiness, is all I can say. I couldn't believe it, you know. You looked at the course of events that led to that. You look at the journey that this team and Hinch has been on here at the Speedway, and, you know, I couldn't believe that anything could be so cruel to that guy, you know. The effort, the work, the heartache that goes into it, the overriding sort of disappointment of the situation was awful. It was gut-wrenching.
For sure. We had grown men crying in our garage. Like, this is Indy. This is the Indy 500. This is everything for us. And to not get to participate in it is just the worst. It's the worst feeling. As I said to the guys, I'm like, look, we're one of the few groups of people that can sit here and say, you know what? As bad as this has not been our worst day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Congratulations to the 20 car. Ed Carpenter wins the pole.
The next few days were weird. You know, I didn't have to suit up. I still went to the engineering meetings and, you know, still tried to help and throw my opinion in anywhere I could to, you know, help Robbie and Jack and Jay. But I almost felt in the way. You know, I was a person that really had no purpose anymore. And that was very tough. It was tough to know how to act. It was tough to know where I was welcome and not welcome. Why did I do the media day? I did the media day for a few different reasons. I mean, first, it was good of IndyCar to invite me. I wasn't in the race. You know, I didn't really deserve a spot on the media tour, but it really gave us an opportunity to still, I guess, kind of explain ourselves and try and save face a little bit for our sponsors and our fans. And it was definitely not something I was 100% on board for right off the bat, but I'll be honest, it ended up actually being kind of therapeutic to be forced to really talk about it.
You know, that made me a better person, made me a better competitor. And I take my hat off to James Hinchcliffe, who didn't get in back in somebody else's car. He took it on the chin just like we all have to.
I don't think there's a more respected guy in pit lane than Roger Penske, and when he has something, you know, good to say about something you've done, even if it is something that's happened because of a poor on-track performance, you know, you take that very seriously, and that meant a lot, you know, because I was sitting at home.
The decision between the executive group was made that no, we'll take our medicine on this. You know, we need to learn from this, and in many ways, it's going to make us stronger moving forward. So, rather than making a knee-jerk reaction, which maybe isn't in the best interest of the sport, let's be honest, the bump day is there for a reason, you know, and buying your way back in afterwards would be, I want to say cheating your way back into the race, but it's maybe not the way that we would like to do business at SPM.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, I told him, I was like, guys, I'm a racer. If you want me in a car and there's a car for me to drive, yes, I will drive it. But they stopped short of saying, hey, here's this opportunity. Carb Day was actually one of the better days because it was a lot more normal. Other than the 1 hour practice session, I did all the stuff I would normally do on Carb Day. All the same appearances, all the same media stuff, sponsor stuff, the pit stop competition, the podcast that Alex and I host, Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. So for me, Carb Day was one of the better days of the week because I didn't feel as removed from everything. I still felt like I was doing the job that I had showed up to do all month.
People may be wondering, you're in this Indy 500 or nowhere shirt, so clearly you want to be here. Your car is sitting right here. You get to run the pit stop competition right now. So is that a little bit of salve on the wound to say, hey, I get to do something for my guys?
Yeah, exactly. The pit stop competition was great, man. It was such a cool opportunity for the 5 crew to get back together and do something that we love doing. It was nice to get the boys back together and kind of back working in a sense, and we ended up second. You know, we made it to the finals for the 2nd year in a row. Boys won a bit of money, a little bit of pride for making it to the finals back to back. So that was a good day.
5, 4.
Yeah, race morning was it was tough. It was tough. I was still staying at the track, you know, still in the motorhome. Woke up at 6 a.m. to the cannon like everybody else on the property, but knew that I, you know, didn't have to worry about all the things that I normally start worrying about when that cannon goes off on Memorial Day weekend. And the week had gotten better and better. Every day, you know, you accepted it a bit more, you dealt with it a bit more, and you were just more okay with it. And then Sunday was tough. You know, it was not the routine that you're used to on that day. It wasn't part of the things you're supposed to be a part of on that day. So I moved pretty slow in the morning. I didn't rush to go anywhere or do anything. Went to the green room before just to kind of say hi to all my buddies and wish everybody a safe race, and went to the grid and you know, stood with the team and Rob at his car, and then retreated back to the motorhome to watch the race, which was a weird experience for sure. The first 50 laps were hard, and then frankly, I've had some bad races here, so I've watched the end of Indy 500s from my bus before. So the second half of the race was a little bit easier. Oh, very motivated for 2019. We want to come back and prove that this was a fluke. This was an accident. This shouldn't have happened.
James Hinchcliffe will not be in the Indianapolis 500. You know, it's what this day is all about. He had his chance earlier, did get a run in, didn't go fast enough, and you know that they are just devastated.
She's Indy, man. I mean, Indianapolis doesn't owe anybody anything. You have to earn every lap you do here, every corner. There's no freebies, there's no gimmies. This is the biggest motorsport stage in the world, and you've got to earn it. You really do.
Desire to win it next year. You know, it's something that I think nobody likes to fail. Nobody likes to be defeated, and certainly in this manner. There's obviously a certain amount of pride, you know, personal pride and pride as a team, and a certain ethic that you know you never ever want to be in that situation ever again. So I would say it would make everybody work harder, but I don't think we could at the moment. But you know, you do have that extra mindset where you want to make sure that this never ever happens again.
It's a little unrealistic to think we'll start working on those cars now, but I think September 17th. You know, we're going to start working on those cars for Indy 500 and make sure it doesn't happen again.
We want to come back and prove that this was a fluke. This was an accident. This shouldn't have happened. We're going to come back very strong. I've had great days here. I've had literally the worst day of my life here. Maybe the worst two now. But there's something about this place and there's something about this race. I still just can't wait to get back here next May.